a minute because I've got to go find my comment section in case somebody hops on because it pops up at the bottom here and disappears too quickly. Um, Thank you for anybody who happens to join. Oh, I'm sorry. I haven't done this in a little bit, so you get the live, the true live. Um, I wanted to share with you some things that I've picked up since our last video, and let me get my earbud in and make sure that my volume's up because sometimes we have problems with that. So I'm gonna try and solve that if I can find the volume button. So I hope everybody's doing good this afternoon. I'm sorry that I haven't been on in a while. It's been quite a year, and it's been quite a couple months since I've been on, and I think about going on, and then somebody else that I care about is on, and I want to watch them because they're live, and I don't. You know how you don't want to divide audiences? We share, most of us share audiences. So while I do this, I'm setting up a couple things. I'm still a newbie. I've been on over a year, and there's still a lot that I want to do with my channel. Afternoon, Melanie. Afternoon, Judy. Welcome to the craziness. If you're wondering what this stupid thing is, I had to have this joint on my thumb fused July 15th. And last Monday, I was supposed to get a manageable cast, manageable splint so I could use my crutches and get back to life. And the PA decided that she wanted another 2 weeks in this blooming thing. So I have another 8 days or whatever. Then I'm supposed to get this off and get that. What's kind of funny to me is there's now more hardware in my thumb than in my neck from my fusion. But I'm going to do the update on everything after we do some goodies because I've kind of stacked some things up. And I'm glad a couple people joined me. And whoever comes on with Team Replay, whoop, I love Team Replay. I don't get a ton of happy mail. And right about the time I did my last video, Donnell from, now I'll remember her name in a minute, but anyway, she sent me this. And if you haven't watched her channel, she's a lot of fun. And, I'll keep it over here because it meant a lot. It was one of those surprise, and she did a beautiful job. She does this EPP and then put it on this postcard and put it in this Donnell Stitchery. I told you I would get it. I hope you guys are doing well today. So I've been trying to adjust the light so that it's not blinding, but I have enough light, and it's kind of strange in here. Let me see if I put this light on it, if it'll be a bit better without the halo. I'm not professional here by any means. So anyway, I hadn't done much shopping because I got a car finally. Took 4.5 months to get that arranged and practical stuff. Well, 4th of July weekend was coming up and I was looking for a couple things, so I was checking out the sales and I picked up some things on sale. And then this week, on Wednesday, I had to go in for pre-op because I have a little procedure on the 14th for my back, which will hopefully help with the pain there. And I went into the mill outlet. I hadn't been in there in over a month. Yeah, Donnell is a sweetie, and she's got a lot of good content. And they had a big, giant stack. Mostly Halloween, mostly Christmas, a little bit of autumn for $2.70 a yard. And I'm talking about a stack. If you did each stack individually, it's like 18 pictures worth. And usually each stack had like 6 or 7 choices, some a little shorter. So I didn't go crazy, but I did pick up a couple things. I got the last of this beautiful sunflower because I have a good friend that loves sunflowers. And so I thought I would make her something with that. Yeah, I mean, I have to shop the sales. And so it was really nice. Now, this stuff is kind of the only Halloween I picked up because I'm not a giant Halloween person. Is these bats? I thought that I could make some key fobs with these. I'm always looking for smaller prints with something different. I don't know if they'll work or what. It was awesome, Melanie. And then I don't know why, but I fell in love with these bats. I think they're upside down, sorry, but I fell in love with these bats. I just thought it was fun, and it almost looks like the moon's made out of cheese. So I'm not sure what I'll do with them, but we're going. Oh, I know, Melanie, we do all like a good deal. And then I don't need a ton of Christmas, but I did get some of this. Now, this was on the boat. This was Marshall Dry Goods. And then when I took it up there and asked her about it, the lady says, "Oh, I dropped that to the $2.70 price too." And Annette, the fabric magician, half of this is hers. She really likes this. And then, now this is silly, and I can't tell you why, but this cracked me up. It's sloss. It's Christmas sloss. What I'm gonna do with it, I'm not sure, but last Christmas, and I haven't had a chance to use it, I picked up this incredible Dan Morris fabric on sale there, and it was on there 50 or 60% off before Christmas. And I'm not usually a flamingo person, but I got the last bit of this. So I didn't know if maybe I would put the sloss with this unique Christmas fabric or something on its own. Yeah, I know. And they're all kind of hanging out. At first, I thought they were monkeys, and then I saw the claws, and I looked closer, and I thought, man, that's lost an expeditionist. But anyway, one of the things I had thought about doing with this and this is I have a little basket that's about like this that you can put like a gift card and little things in, and you can fussy cut. So like I could put this right in the center of the basket, or I could put one of these fellas right in the center of the basket. That's what originally my thought was for these. And if you wanted to do that pattern from Shabby Fabrics for the nice little fun baskets, you can do them for any season. Morning, Judy. Thank you for joining. I don't know if I said hello. Oh, I did say hello. Hi, Gladys. Thank you for joining. We're just looking at some fun stuff I picked up on the sale. And then they had these penguins. And what I liked about the penguins was they're winter. They're not committed to a holiday. So you could use these fun. I appreciate everybody who's popping in. Yeah, the sloths, Judy, they were just too fun to pass up. And they had them on blue. I mean, they had them on red, the red and the green. but the red, their hats blended in, and I thought, I'm just gonna go with the green. And then, oh, sorry, this also was in the autumn, and I thought that it went well with the sunflowers and with some other autumn that I have, and I like the vibrant colors with it. So and the only other Christmas was I got the last piece of this because I can do one of those 10-minute table runners that takes an hour and a half to 2 hours. They're easy to do. All you need is 18 inches of fabric and then a 10 to 12 inch center. And I put a little piece of scrap batting in the middle of it, and that's all the materials you need. So this will make two of those with the fabric. Hi, Eva. I haven't been seen you in a while. I'm doing okay. It's been quite a month. This is supporting my thumb. This is my manageable split. Ha ha ha. And then I went over to their. Oh, Melanie, you love gingerbread men. I just thought this was really adorable. It was the last piece they had, so I took what they had, and I thought. And I have a recipe. Around here, I have some fabric I got 3 years ago that actually has recipes on it. And I thought, Christmas recipes, and I thought, and tools. Thought maybe that would go with it, but I have to dig it out and see, because I made a bunch of those 10-minute table runners that take me an hour and a half to 2 hours to make. Um, how have you been? I know, Judy, I need to get back to you, but it's been a little nuts. And I went over to they have bins, and one large bin is tone on tone, cream and white. One is batiks and grunge blenders. And the other two large bins are whatever they get in off the bolt. Some of it is um some of it is name brand. Some of it you're not sure who it is because it doesn't have a salvage, but usually it's nice fabric. I don't think I thought somewhere somebody said this was Marshall Dry Goods. I'm not sure, but anyway, it's $5.70 a yard. So I saw this, and they had 5 different colors. So color combinations, but for some reason I really like this one. Um, Funny thing is Deb would say go back to the 60s and 70s. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with it, but I thought it was fun. Oh, Melanie, I hope he's doing well because that back stuff is a bugger. And this is my mill outlet fund. I had to go there a couple times, but this is a Dan Morrison, and this was on the bolt, so it was a little bit of a splurge, but not horrible. And I just love the colors in it, and the thought of it for autumn. There was a couple pieces that went with it, but this was my favorite. I like the pop. I think these are poppies and whatever these are, flowers and the colors. And of course, Dan Morris, but this is a 2026 design. So, and then this was on the Christmas table, and it was what was left over on the bolt from last Christmas. And I took it up there, and the lady made a deal for a little bit of it. This again is the weirdness of my brain. I really liked it last Christmas, but I didn't grab any. I'm thinking the same thing. I may fussy cut for something. May use the houses, but For some reason, I really liked it. I mean, look at these guys. They're just so much fun. Look at this little fella here, sitting on his belly, and it just has like snowflakes and polar bears and winter and wonderland. So it's like a winter thing. And so since you made me a deal, I grabbed that, and I'm glad that it's better, Judy. How's your throat? Because I had the C5 done, and they said you'd have a little sore throat, and it was sore, quite sore, and it took quite a while to, but it is kind of rough, and I've been praying for you and thinking about you. It's just been a little nuts. And then I went over to the bolt section, and they had one of these panels left, and I took it up there, and the lady let me have it for $378. 378, $398, and it just has different birds on it, and I had thought about it, especially like the cardinal. I had thought about it, but it was like meh. And then I noticed they had one left, so I took it up there, and she just looked at it and says, "Oh, there's only one left. I'll do a deal." So, this is by QT. This is a Janie Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. But I just thought that that was really pretty, and I didn't expect her to drop it down like that for this panel. But I think she was tired of it sitting on the shelf. Sometimes when they get down to the last couple yards on a bolt, they'll throw it on the table. And sometimes when they aren't selling something on a bolt. Now, if you hold on, I'm gonna swap out here. This will take me a second. This is like, um, this is always fun. So, this is the stuff I did, 4th of July. And then I have a little stack from the lobby. I had gone on, I told you it's been a while since I've been on, so you guys get to see all the fun things that I came up with. Hang on a minute. There we go. I had gone on keepsake quilting because the week before the 4th, they said 25% off all clearance. I threw some stuff in the cart, was thinking about it, and they said, "Oh," they texted me and said, "Oh, you got some nice stuff in your cart. Here's an extra coupon." And I thought, okay, so it's all clearance. It's already 25% less than the clearance price, and then I get another coupon. So, and I may have to shift today. Yeah, I tell you what, um, I'll tell you what, Eva, even if it's not intentional abuse, but like I've had to use the sticks, it is, and nobody tells you that when you get older, you may be going through this. Wow, that's tough, Melanie. 3 hours away, and he's in the hospital, and it's really hard to be in the hospital anymore without an advocate. I know that to be true. But I've been praying for you too. Um, okay. Okay, so that's Judy. Alright. And the big thing that caught my eye was this melange by Keepsake, and they did it with stuff out of France. And it had these beautiful, see, it just has a hint of modeling or but it was such a beautiful jelly roll. And this is linen cotton. And melange, I found out, and I can't tell you right now, but melange is a specific, it's a specific processing, and it gives you this look right here. Describes this look. I didn't know that till I looked it up. But they were $20 by the time I got my 25% off, and then oh, you left some things in your cart. So it's a 42-piece set, and I thought that'll do. Thank you, Melanie. Yeah, and jelly rolls have gotten so ridiculous, and I thought this one with all the different colors was a good one to snag up. I think they still have a few on clearance, but it's not the same as when they were running the sale. And then they had a mystery yard. Well, the mystery yard with all the special deals was like about $3, and I ended up with this. And I mean, it looks like windows to me. I'm not quite sure what I'll do with it. But it's called Dream Linoleum Plaid. It's by Wyndham. The plaid presents the plaid one, and this is the linoleum plaid. Kind of does remind you. So, but you never know what kind of mystery you'll get. It's very nice fabric. I'm just not quite sure what I'm gonna do with it. And I found this panel. Now, I have two people in my life. One is 8, and one is much, much older, who have this thing about unicorns. And they had this panel for $5, and it's actually much prettier in person. And then on the bottom, and see, this is like a reflective silver. It's not glitter. It's that stuff that's kind of woven in. It's not going to come off, but it's pink and it's purple, and that's, So I'm going to find out. And then there's a big panel. There's a big piece in the middle, and it says, nothing is impossible. So I'm going to find something to do for her. And of course, my very much older will get one sent to her, because you know how that goes. Gotta take care of your friends. Yeah, Eva, mostly that's what I do. And now that, and I think it was March, I got a stripology ruler with a little help from my friends. And so that, I'm still in the learning curve stage, but that has helped a lot with that. Because jelly rolls, I mean, I know it's a little bit more work, but it's really crazy how much they want for it. And then they had this, and again, I've found that there's a lot that you can do with a border print other than border. I've done bowl koozies out of a border print. I've done little bags out of border print, focus on totes. And this one's kind of nice because it's got the partial moon there, and then the center section is like a full moon because hey, it's the phases of the moon. And so I think it was $4.98 a yard. This is La Luna by Jason Yenter. So this was another one. You know, these are all keepsake finds. Well, that's, you know, even yardage in a lot of places has gotten ridiculously high. You have to, I'm glad I got a stash, but you have to shop for the sales like this and pick and choose. Now, this next one's fun. I have been looking at this one for a while because this is Lewis and Irene, and it was when you got all the coupons and everything, it was like $4.50 a yard. But what makes it fun is see these guys glow. So the stars and some of the gnomes or totems as they call them in Europe, they glow in the dark. So I picked up a piece of that because, like I said, I have been looking for this. It's called Hygie Glow, Hygge. I have not. Hi, Leanna. I hope you're doing well. I'm not sure if you're in Puerto Rico or home, but I've been watching your videos, and they're really cool. And Doris, welcome in. Thank you very much. Yeah, it is, and it's cooler in person. In fact, before the sale was over, I went ahead and ordered a couple more yards because on Etsy this is still running like $12 a yard. So, and it's harder to find. So I thought, well, $4.50 a yard, I'll add it to my glow in the dark, and it's gnomes. Plus, it's little, so I could take a little piece and make a couple key fobs. Because let me tell you what, people have this thing about glow in the dark key fobs. I thought there was. Oh, now these are Etsy finds that were 50+% off for the holiday. I appreciate everybody that's joined in. And this is what started the whole blooming thing. I have missed Easter sales. I have missed most of the Memorial Day sales. Like I said, taking care of things and dealing with things. So I thought 4th of July, I might finally find my stained glass bear. It's a mama with 2 cubs. And I've been looking at this a couple years. It's by John Q. Wright, by QT. I think he works with Morris, or he was mentored. I may be wrong, don't hold me. But I have been looking for this panel, and I thought, well, maybe it'll be on sale, and it was. I got a very good deal on it. Oh, enjoy lunch. Thank you for stopping by, Leanna. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna have to find lunch here in a few minutes. But it's a yard panel. I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna put with it, but I know that I'll find something. And when I found this, the same shop had, hold on a minute, takes me a little bit longer with this stupid thing. The same shop had, and don't ask me why, but they had these, reminded me of Cranston, but they had this panel where you could put together these 3 bats. And if you put a little bit of, they call it Chanel, I call it pipe cleaners, in these little legs, then you can hang them from anywhere. But I just thought they were, and I mean the legs aren't like tiny, because look, this one's candy. And if you put the Chanel in here, or the pipe cleaner in here, then you can bend it and hang it from anywhere, or you can make, but I mean, look at that face. And then this face is different. but it's all the little pieces. You've got the ear. Oh, I'm sorry. This one's got little fungos. This one's candy, and this one's a little spookier with I think that's a bat in the graveyard with a pumpkin and a moon. But everything's here. This is Michael something from QT. It's called Going Batty, which how fitting is that? But it makes 3 bats. And like I said, it was 50 or so percent off. Yeah, and I thought it's really simple to put together because you have all the pieces, you have all the instructions, like they have a place here where you match up. Now Cranston, who made panels like this for a long time, they became QT, and most people don't know that. So QT has a long history going back 100 years, but they started out as Cranston. Now, like I said, don't ever go looking for one thing on a sale weekend because you'll find something else, especially if it's on sale, and you go, ooh, ooh. Now, I am not really into steampunk, but I saw this, and this is a Jason Yenter panel, and I, for some reason, probably because I love animals, fell in love with the way he did these characters. And the middle is your elephant and your zebra. And at the sale price, I ended up getting 2 because I have a couple friends who want pillows. So one wants the elephant, one wants this really cool bear as a pillow. And so I thought, okay, I can do that, but so I caught the other one while it was on another sale for actually a little less, but it's very nice because it's Yenter fabric. And then when I was going to get the second panel to make up, hi Michelle, I love lurkers. Thank you for joining in. Well, wait till you see this one. This is in the same line, and I didn't see it until I had to go back because I had some claimed. This is the panel that goes with it, and it has even more of the animals. So the bear's in the center, but you got the chimp. You've got the owl. Let me fold this in half. You got the elephant. Down here you got the peacock. Who else is on here? But the way he did it, look at the hippo. The way he did this was just so cool. And of course, there's this really cool turtle, and then the peacock. I wish he had put the turtle on this, but I guess the turtle wasn't as cool as the 6 he picked. But that turtle's pretty cool. So I'm not quite sure how I'm gonna frame this, but I just thought, oh, wait a minute, there's a panel and there's more critters on there than were on the blocks. And these are good sized blocks. They're like 14 inches with that part of this. So you can do a lot with these blocks, but they have the zebra, the elephant, the peacock, the owl. The owl's really cool. And so is the bear. But anyway, so Um, you gotta love those friends who come up with ideas for you before you fully form the idea of what you're gonna do with something cool you found. And of course, it's for them. But Jason Janter did a really good job with these panels. And like I said, I'm not totally a lot of the steampunk I can take or leave. I do have some that came out 2 or 3 years ago that has um the sewing. They're like steampunk sewing things, and one's like a bobbin, and it's pretty cool. So and the last couple of things. Oh wait a minute, I got some Hobby Lobby. Was I found this, and it was the last yard they had, so they were selling it on sale as a remnant. Now this is Studio E. I was thinking key fobs, but it's actually really pretty. And then they had this, which is canvas, and I ended up getting enough to make a shirt out of it. And I know you can't really see it well with this lighting, but it's like a there. See how pretty the purple is? Now they had a blue, but the turtles were blue, and they looked like they would fade into the background. Besides, I really like the purple that they used for this. That like deep purple. So I got enough of that. Now this is art gallery. Yeah, this is art gallery fabric, and I think it's gonna make a really nice shirt. Um, oh, yeah, that's true. This would make a really nice binding. And I went back to see if I could find another place that had it on sale, and I couldn't find any more. But that would make a nice binding because of the little tiny butterflies. But like I said, they had this yard. It was the last one they had. So they had a deal on it. And when I got it, I thought, man, that's prettier than I thought it would be because the butterflies are like ombre um, across. I may run into it. Must have been put out a while ago. Of course, colored stuff like this is kind of ombre. It's Butterfly Bliss by Elizabeth Isles for Studio E. Um, I don't know. I don't. It was odd because like I said, once I got it. Now the last little bit here. Well, I have a couple patterns, but the last little bit is clearance from um the lab, the lab. Now Tony took me by there yesterday because for some reason I got all these sewing needles running around, but I'm out of top stitch needles. So they had these and they were 30% off. They had one box at the counter where they do most of the cutting, and on the other counter, that's the backup counter, they had a box of, the Christmas was on the back and the autumn was on the front counter, and then they had a new little rack with some in. I imagine they're going to disappear, but since they were 30% off and they're regularly only that for a fat quarter, I picked up these. And no, I didn't just pick up one because you need more than one fat quarter. And then I got a couple winter designs right here. And then I got a couple fall designs. This is just pumpkins. And then sometimes they do, Melanie, and sometimes they don't. Now yesterday I fell into they do. And then sometimes they have a sale on pre-cuts and don't have and they're not having a sale on their weekly sale on the yardage. But with the lob you can never tell, you know. But I just thought this looked pretty for autumn. And anybody that's been to the lob, the pre-cuts they have mostly stayed the same. They don't really change. So at least these fat quarter ones that are hung up, and some of the fat quarter ones like the Highland cows, I would love to get that in some yardage, but they don't have the yardage. They only have the cows in the pre-cut. But I had seen a rack with a couple fall designs, I don't know, a month or so ago when I went in there. But then when I popped in there looking for needles yesterday, which of course they were out of the kind I needed, they had these sitting, they had not only a rack, but they had these sitting, the autumn Thanksgiving ones on this side and the Christmas ones on the, and they had more designs. They had Santa Claus and more fall designs, but these were the fall designs that I liked. But I love I love this reindeer. I don't know why. It just such they did. So, um, and like I said, can't beat that price even though it's a fat quarter. Um, and then these, like I said, you can make a small table runner or a placemat or a bowl koozie or hot pad. Well, you guys know all the things you can make with a fat quarter. The black's a little dark, but it makes it show up. And these are nice because they can be Christmas or they can be winter. I think those are the only designs I got, but they did have more. I thought there was one more design I had picked up, but if I did, it will show up, you know. Um, this is the first time, Melanie, that I've seen them do special holiday pre-cuts. Of course, you're not gonna find Halloween, but and this is the first time I've seen them take a little box of them and put them on the cutting counter. And I noticed, well, ours has a cutting counter that they mainly use. Then they have a backup one that they do the pricing at, and if there's a long line, then somebody will scoot in and use it. And I noticed the same kind of box from the back, and when I went around to that side, it was all it was like six or eight Christmas designs, and I noticed they put up a rack. Now that's the first time I've seen them do a specific holiday setup, and they didn't have them the last time I stopped in. They had the rack over by the fat quarters that had a handful of designs that were all autumn, no Christmas. So, and once they get them in, they probably won't get them back in because that's typical of their Christmas fabric. They've got some designs in, not a ton, but once it's gone, um, they typically don't restock like Joann's used to. Now I got this, I think not long after I did my last video, and I got it because I thought it was cute. And I have this thing about hedgehogs, and I like the hedgehogs, and this little owl, and even this, um, even this skunk. I mean, all of these. You've got all the little forest animals. You got a rabbit, um, little bear with a flower on his head. So I picked this up They still have it, but I picked this up, I think, probably a month and a half or so ago after I had done my last video. But I was looking around and I found a couple things yesterday. I found this, and it's small. I know some people that like dinosaurs, so I have a couple uses for it. I made key fobs out of this, and they disappeared like hotcakes. Since they're an inch, you get this part of the hedgehog cut off about here. So you'll have this design, and then you'll have the turtle here, or you'll have the baby turtle and a couple other woodland creatures. Like you'll have the owl and the bluebird. So it depends on how you cut it, what key fob. So shoot. Um. Yes. Um. So this can get me like 4 different key fob designs from one piece of fabric, depending on how I cut the center part of the key fob. And then I fold it so that that part shines. And they had this in their 40% off Christmas section, and I thought of angel wings because I'm always looking for I still make angels, the angels with the pockets, and I got a couple other kinds of angels. I got an angel with the bell in the butt that I didn't get to last Christmas because things were a little strange. And so I always need things for wings. And I thought that this was beautiful for angel wings. And I figure, they're Christmas. Thank you very much, Michelle. I have a patch and I don't have it in the house because I had it, my friend was looking at it, and it says stay away from the farting squirrels, and it has a skunk on it. And I got the patch because I thought it was fun. And then they had this at Michael's because I stopped by Michael's on my way home to see if they had the machine needles I needed, and they were out. And this was on sale. I think I paid $4 a yard. And this is perfect key fob because of the size. I use a lot of scrap. Sometimes I use fat quarters. But if you can find smaller designs that aren't uber expensive, and since this one is directional, the lengthwise, I can do this and make an uber long chain, which is easier than doing a short piece, and I'll get about 8 key fobs of different sizes out of this piece. So I've come to like the longer pieces than the shorter pieces because you get more, and it seems to me that it works faster, but that may be my brain. And everybody likes cats and dogs. So the only thing left are a couple patterns that I picked up on sale, and then I'm done. Well, I'm done with that. I'll show you a couple of things that I made, and then I'm done. So hopefully you've had fun. I had been wanting this. I may have shown this on the last video. I don't remember. But I had been wanting to get this pattern. Last November, I looked and looked for a dog jacket that would work with my long hounds. And this was my favorite. And you can do it with or without their name in the middle. You can do it solid or you can do it patchwork. And Etsy a couple months ago said, oh, you've been on here, I don't know, 2 or 3 years. Here's $5. So I thought, well, that'll pay for the shipping for this pattern, and it was on sale. So I got that with my $5. And I have that leather here, the rose genuine leather and the brown, and I had seen this, and so I got this half price. Yes, I would love to do it with the seals because that's beautiful, but that's a whole nother thought. But I thought I really like the way they did this backpack. I might do it with the leather. This was another one that I've been wanting to get and do. It was on sale, and I saw a lady about a year ago or so. I saved it. She took this poppy cotton pattern, and instead of doing the pillow, she took the chickens and made a whole quilt. Well, they have both of these, $5 a piece. And I thought, well, why couldn't you take the chickens and intersperse the barns? Boop, 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 like she did. She did just chickens and made rows out of them, and I've saved the video so I could see how she did it. But you've got the pillow pattern for 22, which is really cool. I like the hearts. And so she did just chickens, and I thought, well, this pattern's on sale for $5, and it has these cool barns. And if I don't know, you got some glare, but what they did here was they took they fussy cut a chicken and a teapot. I think those are apples or pumpkins. I'm not sure what that. So anyway, so I thought I could do a quilt with the alternating the chickens and the barns. Because this is 22 by 22 pillow. This is a 22 and a half, and a 22 and a half pillow. So we'll see. But I have been thinking about that. Hopefully I'm not stuck. I hope I'm not stuck. I hate when... Okay, I'm good. Oh no. Did it swap over? I hope it comes back. Alright, you have a good time. Ethan, please take it easy and be safe. I don't know. I hope you can hear me. And the only other thing was I saw this $3, it's called Susie Sats, and I thought they were pretty cool. And the place I saw them, the pattern was like $3, but they wanted $9 or $10 shipping, and I thought, nah. Well, I found a place that shipped it for $1, and it was $3 for the pattern. I thought, okay, I can do that. And then I find out it's this size pattern, and they wanted, from about the same distance as the other place, they wanted $9 or $10 to ship this little thing. So I went with that small quilt shop. I was surprised when I got it, and it wasn't even regular size. But it's this and that patterns, but it's a cute little bag. So that's that. That's the fun I've had here and there. And like I said, everything I've done has been on sale. And I needed a little bit of, because it's been really stressful. And I probably won't do the update because I'm getting a little tired and hurting. But I can do that on the next one, but I'll show you if they're not all gone, and I think they're all gone. Okay, I got a couple in here. So, let's see if they're different. No. No, they aren't. So, like, I have these two. And I did this one longer so you could get the... But from that fabric, I had done ones like that. So I had done different designs. It's just like this fabric and the top hat guys are gone. I did two different patterns, and then there's a third pattern where the cat's in a top hat and the other cat has like rose-colored heart glasses. So if you keep an eye out, not all, I mean, this guitar fabric that I had to hunt down because it had gone on clearance, and I found it at another Joann's about 6 months before they closed. If you look, you get different designs for the front of your key fob, and this is the same fabric. It just depends on where I cut it and how I center the fabric. And there's a fourth design, but a lady took it last night. There's even a fourth guitar design, and it's all from the same fabric. And so sometimes, like this, you're gonna get a couple different ways to do this. You're not gonna get that multi where you can get where it looks like you have a lot more designs. But with some things like this, I didn't get very much of it, and I can't believe how popular this is. I had bought a piece at the end of February, the last day of February, and it was a remnant that was like $6, and it was 30% off. And I thought of my podiatrist because it's all animal prints and feet, and I made him a bowl koozie out of this, and I had a little left, and I thought, well, I wonder what happens if I make a key fob out of it, and they keep disappearing. But I only had I think a yard of this, so I don't know if I can find any more. And this is the same way. If I had done, if you look in here, there's coyote and bear, and so depending on how I cut it, you would get different ones. This you get different colors depending on how you cut it. Same with the dogs. I gotta do some more because this is the last dog one, but depending on where you cut will depend on what dogs and what color you get. So it stretches your ability to because like I can cut 3 or 4 long strips of those guitars and get 3 or 4 different designs for the key fobs, and I think that's just an added bonus. Now, I want to show you something, and then I'm going to get off of here because I'm getting tired. Oh, better put these guys back in. See, before I had surgery, I did 67 key fobs, and this is what's left. They've been picked over. But I made some bowl koozies, and I made this one out of last year's 2025's North Carolina South Carolina shop pop. The fabric was done by Dan Morris. Beautiful fabric. I have enough to make a North Carolina South Carolina quilt, but I put this together, and nobody at the hospital picked this who had already gotten a key fob. So I'm keeping this for myself because when Deb left, she took all my bowl koozies in the night. But see, all of these things can be found in the Carolinas, and he did such a good job. I was kind of surprised. They did, I think I made 11. I came home with 3. Uh, and one of them, the 11th one, was dinosaur bones with lots of hands and arm bones and shoulder bones that glowed in the dark. That one went to my shoulder stock. But I had the gummy bear one. And of course they're reversible, so if you want to put the design on the inside, you can. And I had the hummingbird one. I'm not sure if the pink's too bright for it, but it worked at the time because there's a lot of pink in it. I know I could do a purple, um, purple, yellow, green. I mean, I could do any number of colors. But I had this pink cut, so the pink went in it. So these were the 2 survivors because this one I claimed, and I probably will make another one for myself. So hopefully I haven't gotten stuck um, there. Um, but I'll give you, I said an update. Well, I was going to do that at the end, besides the fact that I had my thumb fused so I could save my grip and that it would stop sticking for two and a half hours, which was extremely painful because the ligament, the joint not only was gone here, but so were the ligaments that held it. They can replace these joints, but they can't replace this, so they had to fuse it. But there's been court and getting a vehicle, and Deb moved out in early April and is gone, but there's all that goes with that I would like to give you guys an update. But with this and my back, um, so I'm hoping that this is still running and didn't get stuck, because I've done that before. I've gotten stuck and I've been talking away, and find out that I've lost like 15 minutes of the video because it's stuck. And I don't know why it does that, because it still shows that it's running. So I don't want to flap my jaws about all of that and find out it got stuck and I don't know it. But I'm glad that I got a little time with y'all. I appreciate you hopping on. I love you, and I will talk to you soon. I'm gonna go off now. Probably should try and use this hand and hit the button. Oh, I'm still live. Okay. Oh, good. Thank you, Michelle. Because the last couple times, it's looked like it's working, and then all of a sudden I check it and it's gone. Wow, why did you leave me YouTube tonight? But yeah, there's just a lot of stuff that's happened. But it's been a long week too, because I had the post-op for this on Monday where I was supposed to get this changed out, and the PA changed the plan. Yes, she was trying to take care of me and make sure that it heals correctly, but that means basically, that meant another 2 weeks mostly in the chair, which is hard on my sacral bone, which is messed up, and it's very hard for me to do much with this much thumb. But at least this splint is down here and not up here. Like I said, court, I finally got a new car, well, new used car. It's a 99 Toyota 4Runner. I call her the Silver Fox, that I'll update you about. Wednesday I had pre-op to do this procedure, which hopefully will help with the pain in my back. Thank goodness. And then yesterday I had to run and do a couple errands. In the morning I rested, and my friend wanted me to come out to this seafood restaurant about 40 minutes away. to hear his friend from Raleigh was coming down to play a live band, um, something in the psychedelics. But anyway, Wade was really good. He's the leader, and his wife, boy, she's from Sweden. She can sing. And they did mostly oldies, but I kind of overdid because I kind of pushed the envelope. But I got some really good fried shrimp for dinner, and I got some left over for lunch. Um, but I love you guys, and I will get to all that meandering later. I'm just glad that I could show you some of the fun that I sprinkled in there. In the midst of all this nuttiness. It's been hard this year. I mean, it's been hard since 2018. Um, I think the only other worst year was 23, but this is hard in a different way than 23. This year's been challenging because it's been so personal with what Deb did and the cost. And you know, I've never been in a courtroom really. I mean, I went to the court and sat in there to support my niece in 21. I've never really been around that kind of stuff, so muddling through. Competence hearing was June the 2nd, and our lawyer dropped the ball, and her daughter backed her up, so she's not getting the help she needs, so she, you know, and talk about nuts. But all of a sudden, I think I blew my wad, so hopefully I won't take a month to come on. And I'm hoping that when I get out of this, I can finally do some tutorials. I've got a ton of projects. Before I got this I'm trying to get my room cleaned up because it looks like it farted in here. I was working on a quilt for my friend who retired. It's called Angels. It's called Angels Have Wings, and I've got all the parts done except for one of the bandage cornerstones, so I need to sew it together. And so these are the stitches, and these are the heart cornerstones, and instead of doing these in the Red Cross red that's in here, I did them in this bubble fabric. So these will go on opposite corners than the little things that look like bandages, and the stitches will go in between. And I didn't use the original light scrub blue because this is the scrub color of the ortho place. It's more of this like royal blue. So I tried to match it up, and I got really close. And like I said, that's what I was working on in June, and there was 148 of these half square triangles. But I have everything cut, and I have everything pretty much ready to make the other blocks. I have all of these cut and sewn together. I have most of these made, and I have the pieces cut. I have all the pieces cut to make these other cornerstone. All of them are cut. I just have to sew them together, and they have some little fiddly snowballs. So I told her, I took the sample block in, and I told her it'll probably be September, October, because I have this, and I'm working on my back. And she says, I know where to find you, and I know where to leave it. And she was like happy that I would even do a quilt for her. And I said, listen, you've been my PA for 16 out of your 27 years. You did 6 surgeries with me. I said, you've earned a quilt. And I said, and she says, well, I got all kinds of stuff all over my house that I use almost every day, bowl koozies and jar grippers and pop. I said, no, I know, Doc, key fobs. I said, I know, Doc, it keeps me sane. And I didn't find this pattern till the very end of May from Easy Peasy. So, and I had like 8 appointments in June, so I did pretty good getting everything all prepped and cut. One buck put together as a sample and getting all of these parts done to just sew together. So that's on the next list. Oh my gosh, these are some of the pieces that are left over. I haven't figured out what I'm going to do with them. But like this is another one of those designs from the, so you get a turtle instead of just a hedgehog. And, but it's really kind of too short. Now this one I probably can make into a key fob because it's not too short and some people like them that size. So I do them small, medium, and then the kind that'll go over your wrist. But, and then I keep the pieces. And I have another bag somewhere around here with even more of these short pieces. I don't know what I'll do with them. I may end up. So anyway, I love you guys. I'm going to go ahead and go because I'm rambling right now because my back's starting to kill me and my thumb and my shoulder. I love you guys. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for Team Replay that comes in. Thank you for everybody who's subscribed to my channel and been patient with me through this time. I never realized how much time caregiving was taking up and resources, in particular because I took a long time to see how much she was monopolizing and taking advantage of the situation and using the situation. So yeah, been cray. But anyway, you guys have a wonderful afternoon. I will try and pop on soon with another update. So I'm gonna go now. Love you.